For Republicans who say the White House has been stonewalling them on Benghazi at every turn, maybe they could soon get some answers. Fox News now confirming that 3 witnesses to the Benghazi attack will meet behind closed doors with lawmakers about 10 days from now. Republican Congressman Trey Gowdy sits on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. He joins us live. Congressman, good to see you. Do you think or hope that these individuals will be able to shed some light on a great many things, not the least of which is whether the administration knew immediately that this was a terrorist attack, and second of all, why no rescue was ordered?
Well, I hope so. I mean, these are 3 witnesses. We obviously want access to all the witnesses. It's been well over 12 months. As you know, Greg, memories don't get better. Evidence doesn't get better. Crime scenes don't get better with time. We should have had access to these witnesses months and months ago, but now is better than never, but 3 is not going to cut it. I want access to everyone who has firsthand knowledge,
right?
And we'll go wherever the facts take us.
But the State Department is saying, you know, that this will jeopardize the investigation and criminal prosecution. That was a letter sent from the State Department to Lindsey Graham just a couple of days ago. You know, for the better part of a year, the Obama administration has been saying, we're not objecting and obstructing these survivors from testifying. Does it appear to you now, by virtue of that letter, that indeed they are?
Well, of course they are. It's sheer sophistry. I want your viewers, Greg, to consider this. I mean, the criminal process takes years and years. Use Timothy McVeigh as an example. From the time he bombed the federal building in Oklahoma City until the time the sentence was carried out was 6 or 7 years. So is that how long this administration wants us to wait? When a bank is robbed, is it okay for the FDIC or the bank owners to go in and talk to the tellers, or do you have to wait until the trial's over with?
You know, this administration,
if there's an incident at a school,
this administration pretty consistently says, oh, cases pending, investigation pending, can't talk about it. Look, you're a lawyer, a veteran prosecutor for many years. I mean, there is no law that prohibits the government from talking about an existing case. Isn't that true?
There is no law that prohibits it, and if you're telling the truth, that's the great thing about the truth, is it doesn't take that long to remember it, and you don't need a script to remember it. I was a prosecutor. Think back to any category of crime. Sure. I did a lot of child abuse cases. Are you really saying that the child can't talk to a therapist, parents, teachers, pastors until after the trial? Is that really what the administration is saying, is you can't talk to anyone other than the DA and the cops until after the trial?
The State Department does have a Rewards for Justice program in which they literally offer millions for tips leading to suspects in cases that don't involve the murder of Americans. And yet, let's put on the screen the 4 box of the 4 Americans who were murdered. As I understand it, there is absolutely no money being offered, no reward for these 4 Americans who were murdered. Are you offended by that?
I'm offended unless there's a really good explanation that I haven't heard yet. And the only explanation I can think of, Greg, is right now the administration would have to pay that reward out to journalists, because journalists haven't had any trouble finding these suspects. Law enforcement can't find them, but reporters can. So that's the only explanation I can think of, is they don't want to write checks to reporters.
You know, I got to tell you, until last weekend when 60 Minutes did a story, it sort of felt like Fox News was really the only news organization that was consistently reporting and digging in to the Benghazi story. Why do you think that is?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble, Greg. Why was it? Because this story is not helpful to President Obama, and it's not helpful to Secretary of State Clinton, who aspires to be the commander-in-chief. I don't know how to say it any more bluntly than that. This story broke in the throes of a presidential election. Think back to the fact that Candy Crowley not only inserted herself into a debate, she inserted herself in a factually incorrect way. Hillary Clinton can't have it both ways. You can't go talking about what a great job you did as Secretary of State and not have to explain why was Greg Stevens in Benghazi the night he was murdered. Why was Libya such a foreign policy fiasco?
Yeah. Representative Trey Gowdy, thank you so much for being with us. Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.